Hello, welcome to News Talk by Metamorphosis. I'm Preeti Prakash. Right to information has been a very important right that was given by the government to the people of India in 2005 by the Right to Information Act. I have with me today Mr. Subhash Agarwal, who is a pioneer, who is a crusader in himself on the right to information. He since 2005 he was the first one to file a petition under this act. He's used right to information as to combat corruption and to bring about transparency in the country. Welcome, Mr. Agarwal, to our show. I would start
Thank you.
asking it was more about the nation talk is more about nationalism, our country. So I would want you to tell us what do you think about the values and ethics in society? You think are they on a decline, or are we still in a hopeful condition?
See, I am now 71 and I think my childhood was much better than in the present time. And today's generation, new generation is unlucky that it had not seen what I have seen in my childhood. It was nobody knew about spelling of pollution or such tension. Pollution and tension were not known to anybody. It was a clean system. There were no business rivalry. I know we had a traditional business of cloth adath, and supposingly our customer came, there was used to be a system whereby the outside customers used to stay at our office premises. There was a provision for their lodging and boarding, everything. And in case some was not available at our premises, our neighbor, who was our business rival also, used to treat that customer very politely. And when we came to the office, when our father came to the office, and the customer was transferred back to him. It was not that कि हमने तेरा customer तोड़ लिया. It was not so. It was so honest system, pure system, and it was a pure life. There were no mobile phones were not there, and even landline phones were rare. In our street, there was only one landline number. And
when we talk of today, you think the ethics and values have declined in society as a whole?
Definitely, due to rivalry, due to competition, due to everything. Everyone is running. And if you don't run, you are left behind. So I think that was a nice system. And
but you still, do you have some hope that the younger generation, the youth that is now coming up, do relate? How do they relate with nationalism, or how do they relate with values and ethics in society?
I think there are no values and ethics, and the system is drowning, and gradually vanishing. Now there are nuclear families. In those days, there used to be joint families. In a small house, so many families used to live, enjoy living. And now there is lifeless life.
Okay, so even if we talk about your crusade as an RTI activist, RTI itself is something that that is a very integral part of nation building, as it fights corruption, as it empowers people, the government to be people to utilize their right of knowing things, and the government is bound to tell people what they are doing, which you've been using as a tool. Any thing that you feel that that can go into nation building other than RTI? We can think of how the nation as a whole can progress in a good manner?
See, RTI Act is a very good act. And post RTI Act, post independence era can be divided in two parts: pre RTI Act and post RTI Act. And definitely it has given a citizen power more than a parliamentarian. Parliamentarian can ask question once only in parliament in case it is a written reply. But here we have got three chances. But gradually, what I have noticed, ethics and morals, you are talking of ethics and morals, these are so much down that blackmailers and misusers have entered this RTI activism. They have got their letterheads printed RTI activist, RTI activist. What is this RTI activist? What is the definition of being RTI activist? So, now misuse is so much only because of fall in ethics and values. And my motto is presently to prevent misuse of RTI Act. I travel throughout the country and give lectures at state information commissions, of course, at Central Information Commission usually, and many public authorities, how to prevent misuse of RTI Act. I am a victim of misuse of RTI Act. People have filed RTI applications in my name, and all frivolous, all nuisance, because the response comes to me. And those are mainly insiders who got the information what they want from inside sources. But when I see the replies coming, these are mainly because of rivalry in the organizations themselves. If a person files an RTI application targeting his colleague under my name, because there is a that to have been a fear psychology that if RTI application is filed by Subhash Chandra Agarwal, then public authorities are so much scared that they will definitely respond, even if the queries put in my name are exempted under Section 8(1) of RTI. So misuse has entered this RTI Act. But every act is misused. Dowry Act is misused. Post Nirbhaya Act is misused. So that does not mean that we should abolish all the laws and make the country lawless. But how to prevent misuse of RTI Act, I give lectures on these items. And what next question was there? I just missed.
Maybe we'll move on to another one. Even I'm forgetting. How can what will be your suggestions of bringing about change in society which is actually has lost its, again I would say, has lost its values. Your suggestions in how can things be taken forward to bring a change in
I remember. Now I have remembered your first question. I will answer that first. See, what we have to reform, that is at the root level. That is what I am writing for now more than half a century. Poll reforms. We need massive and consolidated poll reforms. So many committees and commissions have been formed at high public cost, recommending, suggesting for poll reforms, but those are not at all implemented. And root cause of problem is corruption in political system, fall in values and ethics in political system. We have framed anti-defection, but where it is now? Our selfish politicians have devised ways to bypass anti-defection law. They resign from the assembly and get elected from the other side. Why there should not be a ban on such tactics by putting a ban on their contesting elections for at least next 6 years, who resign in midterm? Election of chief minister. We have seen biased state governors who have misused Raj Bhavans as quarters, like Ramesh Bhandari. I remember there was a clear-cut majority. He crowned someone else, went to Supreme Court, and the person he removed as chief minister was re-elected as chief minister. And that was the only case when the election of a chief minister was done through a ballot paper, by a secret ballot paper. Now, what I suggest, a chief minister, there are so many suggestions on poll reforms. There is a set of suggestions which have been sent to all the dignitaries from time to time, again and again in last 50 years. And I have collection a variety of letters from dignitaries, handwritten letters, appreciating my suggestions, saying that we will not we will not use official machinery in communicating with you because you're doing so seriously and sincerely in public interest that you are our personal friend. This was a letter written on a plain piece of paper, envelope also handwritten, stamp was not official, written by the then Vice President Mr. Muhammad Hidayatullah. Collection of such letters. And what I suggest, select a chief minister along with the speaker and deputy speaker through compulsory and secret voting, through EVMs equipped with VVPAT system on nominations filed by at least 34% members. And the MLAs not take such an election system may lose their voting right in the state assembly, though retain membership of the House. And any such person may only be removed by the same process with compulsion to name alternate leader in the same motion. There will be no problem of hung parliament or hung state assembly or midterm election or by-election and need of so many costly luxury resorts to keep MLAs hostages. There will be no need. And such a chief minister will be, this party will put a candidate for such a post of chief minister, which will be acceptable to opposition camps also. Now there have been cases party due to factionalism in the same ruling party, the chief minister elected does not command majority in his own party. Supposing secret voting takes place, then he will definitely lose the system, lose the post. And likewise, we have seen incidents when, like Giridhar Gomango, you remember, Atal Bihari Vajpayee government lost the by single controversial vote of Giridhar Gomango, who was the Odisha chief minister, but retained his membership of Lok Sabha. Why not a system whereby a parliamentarian automatically loses his membership of the parliament on just taking oath as minister or chief minister in the state, and the vice versa?
Naturally, and all this is related to values.
See, morals and ethics start from the political system. If morals and ethics political system, they automatically followed by the people in general. People follow the leader.
So you're a Guinness Book record holder for the number of maximum number of published letters to the newspapers. You are. I would want to know a little digression from this. Do you think that our armed forces, particularly the veterans of the armed forces, these days do not hold that much respect, or our armed forces are being politicized more often?
could not follow. All our armed
Are the armed forces today being more politicized?
I don't want to comment on this because this is a very sensitive matter, and I don't want to be put in under any controversy. Every opposition party also says we are fond of our armed forces. So why should I comment on this question? I think I should not comment. It is fair enough not to comment on this question.
Okay. So,
Forces be kept out of politics. I remember when Mulayam Singh Yadav was defense minister, there were controversial appointments at the high posts in army. I do remember.
When we talk of the youth of today or the people of today, what are the challenges that, according to you, our nation is facing?
Same, which is your topic, ethics and morals. This is the biggest challenge. Now, see, I remember I went to a seminar hosted by a TV channel on complications of GST. Then the then revenue secretary was the chief guest. He said, there is no need of consultant. Just take a mobile phone and click this, click this, click this. Then the trader said, sir, we are not so much educated that we can use mobile phone like this. Your children must be using this. You know what the traders answered? And the revenue secretary just went out of the seminar. He was answerless. Our children do not want to stay in India. There is a brain drain only because of the complications in this system, which is, I daily write still 2 letters to editor daily and post it on every portal, PG portal, helpline.rb.in, write to Prime Minister. But I do not find that these suggestions are ever studied even. I tell you so many examples. You know, for example, some restaurants and hotels started charging charge. There was a service tax, now replaced by GST. In addition, service charge. That means compulsory tip. I wrote against it. See, in the country with maximum honesty ranking are considered to be bribes. And our the then President Mr. APJ Abdul echoed likely that the tips or anything given for getting a favorable behavior is nothing but bribe. So I wrote against it. What you are compulsory tip? Rather, you should direct restaurants and hotels to display prominently tips are totally banned. And it is a crime if you give tip. Then what our Union Ministry of Consumer Affairs did, they sent an advisory note for the public. Please resist paying service charges. You are going to a restaurant for enjoying dinner or to have a quarrel with the manager on having service charge or not. And even if you are paying service charge, the waiter comes and asks, that is another thing. Tip is your personal wish. मतलब एक हाथी पे सफेद. So why you are not banning service altogether? There is so many corruption. You know, generic medicines, these are supposed to be economical. But distributor price generic medicine, there is a difference of 10 times. in distributor price of generic medicine and what is maximum retail price of medicine. In a strip with MRP of rupees 100, if we buy a box of 10 strips, then it is costing just rupees 5 per strip. That means 125 rupees for box of 10 strips. How much profit? And that is a cause of bribery. Any government supply, see that the price was fixed at was 100 rupees and I purchased it at just 70 rupees, 30% discount. Yesterday I purchased a box of that consumable for testing, blood testing, strip. 22 rupees 100 rupees 2200 was the MRP and it was available in Bhagirath Palace as at just rupees 400 for 200 that consumable items, leaving such a big gap for brand. Why not fix at least in case of medicines and other consumables used in hospitals? Why not fix a maximum margin? You fix 30%, 40%, anything. But do not give any liberty that you are giving leverage to print rupees 100 for a strip of rupees 10. Giving a big scope for bribery. And I have again and again returned to the National Price Pharmaceutical Pricing Authority, and I even took the matter to the Central Information Commission. Recommended that these suggestions are very valuable and directed the concerned authorities, that means Ministry of Petrochemicals, Ministry of Health, and NPPA, to consider my suggestion, to study and consider my suggestions, not directing follow my suggestions. CIC cannot direct. It only recommended at least consider, study. The ministry challenged that verdict also in the High Court. Where is the corruption? You know, Delhi Milk Scheme is now, nobody knows it, practically nobody knows it after the mother dairy is there. There are 566 booths of DMS in Delhi on prime property, footpaths, parks. And it was cause of my writing again and again. There was a bid process to hand over DMS to some reputed company. And Mother Dairy participated. Amul won the contract in 2018, but it is not transferred to Amul because all those 566 are used like private shops. Naturally, rent goes as bribery to the officials in the ministry. Ethics and morals, though, you can very well understand. And I am a part of that society. If I do not follow these corrupt practices, I will be nowhere. I will be on footpath. I am compelled to use this. There is a notion, Suvidha Shulk, convenience fees for the bribery. If we pay bribe, we jump. Saving of man hours. And man hours are quite costly.
All these things that you just enlightened us about. Education is one way that if children right from their beginning in their education, in their school days, are taught some lessons in nationality, some lessons in corruption, I think this will go a long way to improve.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, so what do you have to say about improving our educational system and architecture?
Definitely. children should be, see, there is a proverb in the Hindi कि बच्चे तो कच्ची मिट्टी के समान होते हैं, उन्हें जैसा डालोगे वैसा ढल जाएंगे. If our children are taught about these corruption, bribery, and RTI Act right from the primary level, according to their standards, according to their age group, till further, then we will have a new generation which will prefer honesty. They should be taught lessons on countries with best honesty ranking, like Italy, like Denmark. Italy, I suppose Denmark is there, and other countries I don't remember exactly, but there are countries with honesty ranking. My niece went to a country with highest honesty ranking. He tried to someone, as is the fashion in our country, tipping. They saw her like that she was a thief. Naturally, I support this idea, and I am not only supporting now in this Zoom meeting, but I have also advocated in my write-ups and everywhere that children should be educated at the root level. Now, what is happening? We have MLAs who know that they will lose the deposit, but their passion is to with their richness. One MLA in Haryana wanted to create a maximum expenditure on his poll campaign, knowing very well that he was going to forfeit the deposit. This is a political system. Why there are more than 2,000 political parties registered? Why are not those strict guidelines? Only because political parties contributions made to and received by political parties is exempted from income tax. Do person do not know that do not know that why they are exempted? They should not be exempted. Political parties spend heavily on their poll campaign and unethical use of keeping MLAs or hostages in 7-star or 5-star resorts and hotels. Why are they getting exemption in this manner? And money so saved is also will also be used for public welfare and national development, which should be the motto of political parties. Every exemption is misused. Exemption on charity and donation. If someone wants to make charity or donation, giving, standing the public exchequer is also a religious charitable purpose. Why exemptions? See, exemptions, subsidies, additives, deductives. These are all sources of corruption. We deposit during the lockdown rupees 500 to poor families in their bank. Next day, many of them were in the queue for purchasing liquor. From that rupees 500, can rupees 500 make of anyone in present days? See, our system is so defective. Poor will remain poor. Richer will become even more richer. And sufferer is who? Mute section of middle income group. Who is the taxpayer, but the biggest sufferer.
Another one, I'm just wanting to give it another dimension and bring in the armed forces angle here. They are people who are believed to be the most disciplined lot.
Yes.
Yeah, and when they retire or when they come into the mainstream, they try to keep that discipline maintained, which
Yes,
they have that urge of contributing to nation building through that discipline and naturally through the very patriotism and nationalist feeling with which they have fought for the country.
yes.
Do you think they can contribute in a better manner if they in any ways try to take their discipline, their motto into the civil society? And they can also play a contributory role there, and they are wanting to play that role for nation building. What do you think about that?
Madam, I am sorry to say, will they be allowed by our system to have service like this? Do we have such a system that such disciplined persons, retired army persons, will get opportunity to do so? I am very fond of my armed forces, but there are cases also where chief of the staff was found involved in scandals, either through himself or through his sons or relations. So we have, see, in this society we have all types of persons, honest and dishonest. This is definitely I support that armed forces by their training and by their working for so many decades in the army, their mindset and their working is tuned to discipline. I do support this. But big question is, will our society and system allow them to devote their national feeling of nationalism and discipline for a better society? Yes, now Article 370 has been removed. My idea is that retired servicemen should be provided to be in Jammu and Kashmir after their retirement. There used to be two or three cities which were very popular for naturally top army persons, top navy person, top air persons like Dehradun, Pune in earlier times, which were termed to be calm and quiet cities. Now that notion should be changed for the Kashmir Valley. And in Kashmir Valley, if these people are settled properly, then problem of Kashmiri Pandits can also be solved. And who have been the sufferer of militancy in Kashmir will get their dues. My suggestion is that retired army persons should be provided land and living opportunity in the valley of Kashmir as far as possible.
It was so nice talking to you, Mr. Agarwal. It was really very enlightening, and thank you so much for having spared your time to talk to Nation Talks. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
Thank you for considering me to be a participant to your esteemed channel.
You're most welcome, sir. Thank you so much.
Namaste.